Hi. If you've tuned in to watch this video, you probably understand that it's about my decision to undergo a gastric sleeve surgery. Uh, it's a very personal decision, and at this point in time, I feel like it is the only answer to what has become, in my situation, morbid obesity. I guess I'd like to think that I'm a lot different than everybody else out there who has morbidly obese, and maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I have fortunately been able to maintain a high level of activity over the last decade, but for some reason I have continued to gain a lot of weight. Now, I've had some issues binge eating. I was in a stressful job that I think that what I did is I turned to food for a way to comfort myself. At the end of 2011, I tipped the scales at 414 pounds. I am 5 foot 10 inches tall. At that point, I decided that I was going to turn off all of the bad things and bad activities that I was doing, and I started exercising. Like everyone who starts exercising who is morbidly obese, you drop 15, 20 pounds in absolutely no time. And so I was excited that I was back under the 400 mark, which, as I think about that now, is unfortunate that I ever let myself get to that point. But what really got me is I was having a super hard time finding any kind of clothes that actually fit me. And I was having a hard time going up and down the stairs in my house. And I had always lived a pretty active lifestyle, and so I was like, what the crap is going on? So, long story made short, I have been working very hard for the last 5 years. And the lowest that my weight has gotten was 340. And that was after a backpacking trip to the Grand Canyon, uh, which was awesome. I know that might sound crazy to some of you. Well, what do you mean a backpacking trip to the Grand Canyon? Yeah, I have been super active. A typical week for me, I will CrossFit 3 or 4 times a week. To be honest with you, a year and a half ago when I joined my CrossFit gym, I'm like, okay, look, this is the thing that's going to do it. I am finally going to be able to just, the weight's just going to fly off because I'm going to be CrossFitting, and man, that does it. Go paleo, CrossFit, that'll get it done. Didn't work for me. It's super frustrating. A year ago, my doctor recommended that I undergo a gastric, some sort of bariatric surgery. And I had a hard time with that. I thought that I should have the willpower and the ability to overcome this just through diet and exercise and sheer force of will. So for another year, I continued to CrossFit, to exercise like crazy, to hike. I've been on a ketogenic diet for extended periods. I've done paleo for extended periods. I eat clean. The great thing about that is it's made it so I have no comorbidities. No diabetes, no high blood pressure, yeah, a great resting heart rate of around 72, beats a minute for a 5'10", 380-pound man is simply unheard of. The thing is I'm just not losing the weight, and the problem that I'm encountering now is I'm having a hard time training and avoiding joint injuries just because of my weight. And that's a real problem for me. So about a month ago, I went on a trip to Poland and was there with my brother Justin. And we were having a conversation, and he's like, what's holding you back? And I'm like, well, I feel like giving up. And he said to me, he goes, well, man, if I came to you and I was depressed and you said, hey man, you need to go see a therapist, or you go get some medication and get yourself on track, he said to me, if you told me that, and I said, no, man, I'm not going to do that because it feels like I'm giving up and I should just be able to do it on my own. He goes, you would think I was crazy. And he's right about that. And so he said, you need to get the surgery. There's a lot of things, despite the positivity and the force of will and being comfortable, being morbidly obese, there's a lot of stressors that come into play. You ask yourself when you go into a restaurant, am I going to be able to fit in the booth? I want to sit at a table so that I can have room to space back to fit the size of my body. I was on a trip in Mexico, and I wanted to scuba dive and I wanted to go down zip lines, and I couldn't do that stuff because of my size. Not because of my ability, because of my physical size. I'm planning an off-corridor, rim-to-rim Grand Canyon trip, and my pack raft that I'm going to have to use to cross the Colorado River will not support my weight that I'm at right now. For my 40th birthday, I want to do an extended dory raft trip down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. I am too obese to go on any of those guided trips. So it's time for change. So what's the process? What do you do? Well, my doctor, my primary care physician, who is fantastic. Someday, Todd, if you're watching this video, you gotta know that you've been fantastic. You gotta go to a seminar, and I'm going to document these things as I go throughout this journey. I want you to be there with me. I want you to make sure that you have the information to make the decision, to make the change. So I'm going to, from this point forth, have several videos. We're going to talk about the process, the interviews, the things that you have to go through in order to get bariatric surgery and to find out if it's the right thing for you. I'm excited and scared about this. I think that it's going to be a great thing for me. The next videos we'll talk about some of the other things and the long-term stuff, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, go and do. Don't let your fears hold you back.